name is Uhuru Mofokeng and welcome to the South African Book Review Sessions, your online political book club where everything political literature is dissected, vivisected, and eviscerated. Guys, when we started this channel, we promised you a myriad of reviews, and we're doing just that. Today, we're doing our 15th book. 15th book. Before we get into our book, there's a subscribe button on the bottom of your screen there. Like that subscribe button. If you're new to our channel, have not yet click on that subscribe button, go ahead and click on that subscribe. Like that's by doing so, you're not going to incur any extra cost. Clicking on that subscribe button comes at absolutely no extra cost. Secondly, and very importantly, by clicking on that subscribe button, you're making sure that you don't miss out on any content coming from our channel, like anything coming from our channel, more especially the reviews of your favorite books and recommendations of your favorite books. So go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Guys, I've got a special favor to ask you. Please like my videos, more especially this ones of book reviews, if you enjoy this sort of content. That will give me courage and motivation to continue doing more of this sort of videos. If you do enjoy this sort of videos, please like my videos, and more of these reviews will come. So what are we doing today? Today we're doing a very special book. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to introduce you to the book, tell you the contents, give a rating, and finally give reasons for our rating. Now, today we're doing a book written by Professor Thula Simpson. The book is titled Umkhonto weSizwe, the ANC's Armed Struggle. Now, it's a huge book. First, I need to say that it's a huge book. And when I've been looking at people's collections recently through Zoom meetings and on this online lectures that took place throughout the lockdown, and I've realized 3 out of 5 comrades own this book. And it's a special book. It's very strategic. Even non-ANC members. I saw that Peter Mulder from the Freedom Front Plus, he's got this book. So it's an important book for the ANC, for basically anyone interested with the political arena of the country. So anyone interested in the political arena of the country should basically get this book. What is this book about? This book is basically an attempt to give order and sequence to history as it relates to the armed struggle of the African National Congress. It attempts to be some journal of some sort of the African National Congress armed struggle, giving dates and venues, faces to events. And basically this book starts from 1952. It's an account from 1952 up until sometime in the early 1990s. So basically, they give you, the author has given us something to basically quite treasure and appreciate here. Now, why do I say it's something worth treasuring and appreciating? For example, 1952, it gives you the dates of basically everything the ANC did, the NSA meetings, the resolutions taken in that particular meetings, the dates of those meetings, the venues of those meetings. And basically it tells you and it moves with you from 1952 through, and because 1952, if you can remember very well, it was the year of the Defiance campaign, and Defiance campaign came with a rest of its own. And basically this book will covers all of that. This book covers also the 1955 Congress of the People, how it came about. And it does not tell you all the details. It just gives you the dates, the venues, the faces, the builds up, some of these other details which we might have not known, or authors might have thought as unnecessary or useless. He has included them and he has made sense out of this whole book. Now, it tells you from 1952, as I've said, it takes you to 1952, 53, 54, 55, Congress of the People, 56, the Women's March of 9 August, 57, 58, the Congress of the ANC that saw the breakaway of the PAC, 1959, the formation of the PAC, 1960, Sharpeville, 1961, the banning of the liberation movements, 1962, Lobatse Conference of the African National Conference, 1963, the Rivonia trial, 1964, Mandela's arrest, Eraste Penstein's escape from the country, 1965, 67, 68. It talks about a lot of details. It gives a proper account. It mentions names of comrades of Umkhonto weSizwe. It importantly, the book takes shape from its time giving details into 1961, the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe. This book is interesting, and it justifies we need to celebrate the 16th December always as Umkhonto weSizwe Day, because basically that is one of the first steps that got us our liberation. So this book is basically a journal. It tells you of many events. It tells you of the 1967, 1968 Wenke and Spolilo campaign of the ANC and its outcome, the arrest of Krizani in Botswana, his release, the memorandum they wrote in 1969, which led to the conference, to the Morogoro conference. It talks about the death of Chief Albert Lutuli. It tells us, it takes us to the 1970s. It takes us to the 80s and parts of the early 90s. It's a complete book about an epoch, about an era within our struggle, more especially the armed struggle. I like this book. It has lots of details. There's no superstar here. The superstar here is basically the African National Congress and its broad mass democratic movement, and definitely the MK. Because yes, the book talks about MK, but then MK was formed in 1960. In 1960. 1960, yes. Okay, was formed in 1960, and this book covers a period of 8 years before the formation of MK, giving you the understanding of basically what led the African National Congress to take the position of the armed struggle. And the author, you see, Prof. Thula Simpson tried his best to make us understand the tectonic shift of the ANC's policy from non-violence to the armed struggle. So those particular 8 years, they give you an idea of the repression and the hardships faced by blacks and the violence that the state always responded with to the grievance of the black people who were led by the African National Congress. Now, this is an exceptional book. It's important, as I've said, for anyone interested in knowing and understanding the true story of the liberation of the country. The book will not give you proper into detail, like deeper detail, like and serious accounts, but then it'll give you an understanding. So because of that, that is basically the lowest point of the book. It tries to cover a vast period from 1952 up until 1994. It's a long period. It's exceptionally long period, and it's difficult for anyone to get all of those details into one single volume of a book. Though Prof. Thula did try, it's a huge volume, but then he raises this issue in date form. The book is written in chronological order, and it doesn't necessarily get into detail about some of these things, but then he highlights from 1952 the major turning points, most influential points of the revolution of the African National Congress led black masses of South Africa. So it's basically a good book, and because of that, I don't think I was supposed to rate this book because it's an excellent book. It's a must-have. It's the type of book you must definitely have. But because I've taught myself and I've got you guys used to the idea of us giving a rating to the book, so we're definitely going to give a rating to this book as well. And we believe, because this is an exceptional book, it's like a complete book, but you're not going to give it a 10. We've never given any book a 10, and we're not going to give it a 9 because of other reasons. We are going to give it an 8. The reason we don't give this book a 9 is because of, as I've already said, if you're going to read only this book to try understand the armed struggle of the African National Congress, you are going to be left with rudimentary information. You will have an idea of what's going on, but you will not be having the details. Basically, for example, if you're going to read on the 1969 Morogoro Conference, on the 1985 Morogoro Conference, you are not 1985 Cabo Conference, you are not going to get the details other books raises. Like, for example, Comrade Charles Ngakula, in his book, The People's War, raises many issues, and the issues he raises you can tell that he found this was his guiding book. And so basically this book is meant for comrades who want to understand better, who want to have technical understanding of these issues and go deeper into understanding and researching themselves for some other time. For research purposes, it's going to give you dates, it's going to give you faces and names, it's going to give you venues and those sort of details, but then it's not going to get deeper into the stories, the factors, the politics that surrounded all of those things. It's just going to move on the surface, and you can go deeper by yourself by checking on other books. But it's an important book. You cannot say you're a comrade, you cannot say you're a politician in South Africa, but you do not understand the evolution and the dates and the faces, the venues, and those sort of details that led to the 1994 breakthrough. And this book is there to do just that. And because of that, I think the author did a great job. I think we must have the book. Besides that the fact that it tries to do so much, at the end of the day, it does pretty much so little as far as details are concerned. Maybe I say so because of the amount of books I've read, and the topic is a topic close to my heart. But I feel like there are many books on Umkhonto weSizwe which have better details and better accounts, like getting deeper into the factors that affected the position of the liberation movement in that particular epoch than this book does. This book merely touches the tip of the iceberg, giving you the dates and just giving you some direction, some clues on where you can search for better information. But there are many books, as I've told you. Comrade Charles Ngakula's The People's War is a better book with better information, more especially starting from 1979 up until 1990. You can check also on Stanley Manong's If We Must Die book. It's also very fantastic. You can check on Gary Builder's book it was titled Songs and Secrets, I think. It also gives a proper account. There are many books you can read on the MK for better understanding on what really happened in the camps, in order to understand on what really happened in Angola. And basically this book is just a guiding tool, and it gives you an idea. And when you it's a fantastic book. Come on, it could not be accurate enough. From 1952 up until 1994. That's a long period. This book covers, and it covers a lot of periods. It covers so many things. Like, it's an exceptional book. Like, you'd read, I guarantee you'd find so many things you didn't know by reading this book. It's a book we need to promote, each and everyone who's a political activist within our country to have. So because of that, this is Umkhonto weSizwe, the ANC's armed struggle, a review done by the South African Book Reviews Sessions, a book by Prof. Thula Simpson. We believe it's a fantastic book. It's a great book. It has its own shortcomings, but then the way the delivery of the book is, it just makes you understand the shortcomings and you overlook them. And besides that, it's an exceptional book. Everyone should read this book. I loved it. Thank you for joining us.